So I'm here with Endeavorun's Kate Grace. We're talking a little bit about training, and Kate, you've been really integral into the making of Endeavorun based on your experiences as a pro and what goes into a successful pro season. And we were talking a little bit about that at length and wanted to record it because we thought some of our viewers would be excited. So let me prompt you with an opening question of what have you learned from your experience that really makes a successful start to finish pro season?
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. It's fun to be here and just chat. It's been interesting thinking about this because I think I used to think that there was some kind of magic in training, and maybe there was like a specific workout I had to do, or that maybe a certain coach just had the answer. And definitely there are great coaches and great workouts, but more and more I'm seeing that there isn't necessarily a secret in terms of that the more that I've worked with different programs and I see my friends from different programs around the country and like around the world, you can have success with a lot of different maybe like slight variations in your training, but there are trends in terms of like the general organization. I think one of the main things for me is going in with a stated clear purpose and goal in mind. And maybe that's obvious, like obviously you want to go in with a goal, but I don't know. Sometimes for me, I realize that some seasons where I've kind of maybe like languished is when I have too much kind of too much like apathy toward like setting my intention in a way. Like I'm just gonna go in and I'll just train and I'll work hard and we'll see what happens. And that's okay and gets you somewhere versus like I'm gonna go and I'm making my next Olympic team, or I'm gonna place I'm gonna PR, I'm gonna place whatever, like try to win the US trials. Um Going in with those kind of goals, even if I don't always quite make them, it just helps me. I've always seen the most success in that kind of setting because can then like I can then plan everything around that, and it just is kind of anchors all the other structure,
So
if
a
that makes sense.
specific endpoint helps you think about everything that needs to go into it.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and I mean, it's funny though because there's also the other side of that coin where you once you set your intention, you have your specific endpoint. Um, I there's also an element for me of being able to then almost like selectively forget about that and really just fall in love with the process of it. Um, I feel like everyone of these days, like it's kind of cliche to say you have to deal with the process or love the process,
Yeah.
but there is so much truth to that. And um, for me, kind of having for me, my best seasons have been when I've had a system in place that this is like the system itself, it takes care of itself, so I'm doing the work every single day. um and yeah, and like kind of really how would you say it, just so um having so much fun in that daily training that the hard work takes care of itself. And I think for me, part of that is like having teammates and having coaches that keep me accountable to that system of work. um so that almost like without even thinking about it, I'm taking all the small steps that then lead to some kind of big package at the end.
What are some of the key features that make the process something you're comfortable trusting?
One thing is just having a team of people that I believe in, right? That's going to be a key. A team of, I'm saying, kind of coaches and experts around me, in addition to training partners. But a big thing that I've learned is that I need to have various coaches where it's for me, it's my my main running coach plus strength coach plus I usually have kind of a sports psych I work with, uh, someone. I've worked with various nutritionists that have kind of given me plans throughout, and also a physical therapist, usually multiple physical therapists, but at least one that I was like kind of doing an overarching program. And so that's who I would say is like on Team Kate, and I
Mm.
want to make sure I trust trust all of those aspects, or all those people to kind of help give me input and give me expertise, um, and that way I can kind of lean on them when I have questions. And yeah, then I can kind of just like go about my program and know that
Mm.
what I'm doing um, is kind of like the best possible program for me.
I'm curious though, as you think about this, and you've been a co-creator of Endeavorun and really helped to try to create that formula of the start to finish experience in a way that really parallels what you as a pro experience for someone who's not necessarily an elite. What are you most excited about? What are the key elements of the Endeavorun program that you're most excited about being there?
Oh, yeah. Well, there are so many, but I would say the one thing that is just unique is the combination of the in-person work at the University of Oregon camp, um, with then kind of like the follow-up, um, with the training follow-up from afar, and just I think what I've started doing now for the past 4 years is we always go to these altitude camps, and so we'll go to a training camp for 1 to 2 months to kind of start out the season to jumpstart us getting into shape. But there are also so many intangibles with that time together. I mean, I bond with my teammates. I have so much fun. Um, like illegal amounts of fun. Like I feel guilty that still laughing this much, kind of. But that in itself, I think, just is this intangible that makes the training. First of all, it makes it uh, like less monotonous and not as hard because you're just enjoying it, right? Even if it's hard, it's there's some element of like shared suffering that is so special. Um, and I think just being able to see that a little bit in the program. Also, I mean, we go to these amazing places, being in the mountains, and something about kind of that majesty of, I don't know, nature and being outdoors and being in these historic places like there is in Oregon with Hayward Field in the background, with just like the beautiful trails, the history of kind of Priest trails. There's something about that I find motivating to be connected with past runners, um, and and I don't know, I'm excited for other people to experience that as well. And I think but again, what has to then follow that kind of motivation is then like all the follow up that happens where you continue to stay accountable to this community. You now have in person connections that then will like last and sustain the training throughout. Um, so yeah, that's one of the things I'm really excited about. I would say uh, I mean, there's so many others, but I think there's an accountability factor that community can then sustain you um, and keep you accountable through. For me, at least, I know that I go through phases where I'm more motivated to continue my training, and I go through phases where I like a few days that I don't want to do it necessarily, or I have to kind of change a little my program around. And I really value having teammates to keep me on track, or that kind of like kick me in the butt a little bit sometimes if I like need to get out the door. And also coaches that are understanding if like I get sick or something slightly needs to adjust. Um, and I think Endeavorun is like incorporates both of those aspects.
Yeah, that's something that I find so interesting in talking to seasoned pros like yourself is I think as an amateur, there's a belief that somehow you're not just wired different physiologically in terms of your running capabilities and your VO2 max, but also that you've got this hunger and this intensity that's self sustaining and can do that all the time. And it's been reassuring to some extent to realize that even though my goals are much less exciting on an objective scale than yours might be, that pro runners also need their teammates to kind of get them out of bed sometimes early in the morning or reassure them that the process that they're entrusted themselves to can work out.
I totally agree. I mean, again, that's even if anything, whenever I'm training for events that I'm not doing with the group, I still have issues with motivation. I was just running in Europe, and I ended up finishing well, but like I still, if I'm racing alone, it's a whole different ball game. Going racing, training together for a U.S. champs or a world champs or Olympics with other people training for the same thing, it's a game changer. I mean, if anything, I haven't that's like the only way that I like to train.
I know this is a bit of the off season, but with Endeavorun beginning to ramp up, there's some stuff that you've been planning that we can be on the lookout for. Maybe just tease us with a little bit about what we can expect to see from you around this and some of your training as well in the coming weeks.
I mean, I'm really excited for more videos like this, getting more specific about kind of different background on how I structure my training and how that was going to kind of influence different ways that we set up Endeavorun. Um, I always love connecting with different runners and people who are going to be in the program. So I'm really looking forward to kind of doing some Q&As or like live sessions where I can kind of hear questions, um, and yeah, have that connection and see if what people want to know about my more pro training, and how that can help inform their training. Also, just well, I'm looking forward to maybe having other pros on here as well, getting a little bit behind the scenes look at other pros who are involved in the program.
Awesome. We'll have to make sure we don't have any contract violations with you guys sharing some of your deepest, darkest training. Aside from
Yeah.
looks like we've got some fun stuff coming up. So if you're watching this and you thought this was great, please let Kate know on Instagram, on Twitter, elsewhere. You can find her at Fast Kate, and you'll be seeing more content from her on this channel and others as well. But thanks for tuning in, and Kate, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. It was so much fun. Looking forward to the next one.